So, Paul, it has been 1 year since the Taliban took over once again. How have the lives of the Afghan people changed since then?
Well, I guess, Marcia, with the exception of security, life is absolutely much worse for most of the people in the country. Poverty is universal. Hunger seems to be universal now. And of course, life for girls and women is at a very bad point. Children can go to school up to grade 6, and that's essentially where it stops. Most of the high schools across the country, girls are not allowed to attend. Some of the private universities, yes, but beyond grade 6, there's no future for millions of young Afghan girls. There are some underground schools where children and high school students are trying to keep up their studies, but of course that's only a smattering, and there's no recognition of that. So yes, the community is trying to do something, the very brave and courageous community of women in Afghanistan, but it's a completely uphill battle. The Taliban control, with their very narrow vision of Islam, control the country, made it very difficult for women to work, for women to travel, mostly in the cities, have told them they need to cover up wearing hijabs or burqas. So the situation is really so much worse, Marcia.
And the country is facing a major economic crisis, and that is leading to widespread hunger. Can you talk to us about some of the obstacles in getting aid into the country?
Well, some aid is coming in. The United Nations is still trying to put some food on the tables of many of the families that need it so desperately across the country. There's a terrible drought as well, which just exacerbates the situation. Other aid groups that were supporting Afghanistan for many years have simply stopped being there, stopped working there, and that source of funds has dried up. And of course, the Afghan bank, the National Bank, their funds have been frozen, and so no money is going directly to the Taliban government at all into aid programs. It's all coming in dribs and drabs, largely through the United Nations, through the International Committee of the Red Cross, and very little of it. So the suffering is great. The country has not been recognized by any other nations. Pakistan, China, Iran have kept their embassies open, but there are no Western embassies open at all in Kabul.
So I was going to ask you about that. What is Afghanistan's relationship with the rest of the world? Are they basically isolated now?
Oh, they're very much isolated. The West is waiting to see what the Taliban will do about women's rights. They at one point had promised that, yes, they would uphold women's rights and girls would be able to go to high school and women would be able to work. And of course, those promises have been broken. And I think the West is collectively saying, unless there's finally some movement on those grounds, you're not going to get recognition from the rest of the world. You're not going to get the aid programs that you so need to be able to look after your people. And so it's an incredible stalemate. The Taliban simply isn't bending. It's, of course, now looking to China, looking to Russia, looking to other countries for some kind of support. But that's not going to be nearly enough compared to the billions of dollars that went into Afghanistan before the Americans left.
CTV's Paul Workman for us, joining us this morning from London. Paul, thank you for that update.